San Antonio Spurs Pride Night owner bemoans idiot leaders in Texas. Saturday marks the second time in franchise history the Spurs have held a Pride Night in support of San Antonio's LGBTQ+ community, and Gregg Popovich was proud of it. The Spurs coach said that Pride Night will help San Antonio become more accepting of LGBTQ+ people. Last year was difficult for the LGBTQ+ community as it dealt with conservative lawmakers in several states, including Texas, introducing dozens of LGBTQ+ measures. Violence against LGBTQ+ people also increased, culminating with a gunman killing 5 people at a gay nightclub in Colorado Springs in November. In Texas, the GOP adopted a new platform at its state convention that refers to homosexuality as abnormal and, quote, opposes all efforts to validate transgender identity. End quote. Speaking at its pre-game news conference before the Spurs hosted Boston, Popovich said the legislative attacks against the LGBTQ+ community are part of an effort nationwide by idiot leaders to curtail the rights of the marginalized. He said, and I quote, "We have gone backwards in a lot of these areas, whether it's LGBTQ rights or voting rights or women's rights, the environment," end quote. The Spurs held their first Pride Night in December 2021. The franchise, throwing its considerable weight behind the LGBTQ+ community, could help San Antonio become a more inclusive city. Advocates for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer rights said at the time. I think, look, a lot of people criticize Pride as like corporatized, subsumed by huge corporation organizations that become soulless. But I think when entities like these, big sports team, big corporation back us up, I think it's a great thing. I think it is a sign that says that they are not afraid of the backlash. They're not. That means that the majority of Americans, or their consumers anyway, accept the fact that they like LGBTQ people. And I think that's important.
And both things could be true too, right? That is like, we could be really cautious of the way that, Pride could easily become like a, a corporate, whatever, right? But right, pinkwashing, but like also, I mean, it's so incredibly necessary to, I mean, we see the rise of anti-LGBT acts and violence with the rise of the rhetoric itself, of the legislation. And I have to say another, like this story makes me happy for 1,000 reasons. And one of them is that the idea of any kind of sports team taking this kind of position. San Antonio is also, like Miami, for example, another Latino majority city. Its politics are often kind of, it's right. So like to look at this as kind of being, when we say like it's going to be a progressive city, it already is grappling with so many key questions about race and ethnicity on a daily basis. For it to kind of incorporate further questions about gender and sexuality in these really high profile spaces is really important.
And Popovich has been a vocal critic of the governor of Texas in the past, and I salute him because again, he's putting himself out there and taking a big risk. I can imagine here in
it's funny that
Florida.
You say that because exactly when the owner of the Spurs uses the word idiot, and you clearly know he's applying it to the Attorney General of Texas and he's applied it to the governor of Texas. Oh, what's the difference basically than what Disney did to DeSantis? There are consequences.
Yes.
You have fights. We're going to talk about that tonight. But there's bravery in that. The other thing that I think is interesting, onto the piggyback of your point, this is not a natural area of LGBT allyship.
Right.
We want our allies, but this is not a lane that we normally see it. First, it's a sports team. And sports in the masculinity and the potential of toxic masculinity can be difficult for LGBT. He fights that. Sports teams like this are significantly made up of people of color, and especially in Black community, that has not always been a natural from straight Black community and embracement, because of Black church probably historically has not been an embracement of LGBT community. Latino in terms of machismo, of what we have seen in Latin and South America in terms of their slower embrace of LGBT. So in all aspects of this instance, this is brave. And once you add the business to it, he's going above and beyond for the community of San Antonio, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I want to call out Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, who are just doing on a daily basis. I feel like I read a story about what they're saying and putting out there into the universe to protect their family from attacks, and also making a statement about LGBTQ equality. So
before we move on, I just love that you folded that in, because I was going to sit here silent of going, I wonder if I'm the only person in the at the table that knows what the Spurs does in their sport. But
Please.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.